Well, hello and thank you. My name is Nick Wilkinson. I'm the Deputy for Economic Development for the City of Chattanooga. And before we get started, I thought I'd just kind of echo what Mayor Burke said earlier and give a little bit of background on why we're here today. You might wonder, what is the city doing here with all these great for-profit companies? Well, the city does a lot of things. We police your streets, we pick up your trash, we clean your sewers, but Mayor Burke thinks that the city can also do some new things. And one of those things is create an environment and a culture of innovation. And that's what he alluded to with the creation of our innovation district. But we're also looking to create an entire community of innovation. And that's happening every day through some of the other initiatives we're taking on, like StartUpWeekCHA, our growing small business initiatives, et cetera, et cetera. One of the most innovative things that we've done with this administration is create an entire new transportation department. And today we're here to discuss a unique opportunity that our director of the transportation department, Blythe Bailey, is going to unveil and hopefully find some unique partners to help us with. So I'll turn it over to Blythe.
Thank you, Nick. We had the opportunity as administrators in the city to brainstorm on ideas of what we could bring a group like this in the gig city, a group of extremely intelligent, high-tech minded individuals crafting solutions from my standpoint for the transportation department. And I couldn't help but imagine Star Trek or beaming up as a mode of transportation, or jetpacks or teleporting. And I have to say that if someone comes up with an idea of that nature, we'll certainly be all ears. But we're not quite to that technology yet, although we are to some pretty incredible technology in our department. And to sort of set the tone for what transportation does, those of you that know something about transportation won't be surprised that we turn everything into an acronym. Travel demand management and travel supply management is basically two poles of what we do. Travel supply management is probably what most of you think about when you think about a transportation department. We build the roads and the sidewalks, the things that are the supply for how you get around. Travel demand management is a fairly new technique where we've sort of come to the realization over the last many years that we can't pave our way out of congestion. Our system is becoming increasingly more expensive to maintain and to build, and we have to do things from the demand side to make the choices that we have available readily apparent to all the people so that we can get the most out of our system without sometimes what can be very expensive maintenance projects. So TDM versus TSM. We have a system deploying our third phase currently of our intelligent transportation system, which we call ITS. The ITS system is basically a sophisticated communications system where all of the signals can be routed directly to our office in the Development Resource Center, and we can do quick timing adjustments to improve congestion on our streets. One of the things that we're most proud of is in our last phase of deployment on our ITS system, we put in place what's called an adaptive signal control system on 153. And if you're from Chattanooga, you may or may not have noticed, but we did an after study on the results from that deployment. And basically what it does is it determines real time what the congestion is on 153. There are 20, 30, 40,000 cars a day on 153, and if there are backups or congestion problems, it can result in considerable time delays for people. And so it senses the actual congestion conditions on the street and adjusts the timing. So where there might be 2 minutes for a green light phase at one time a day, it might adjust to 2.5 minutes, which can significantly lower the amount of time, the amount of fuel, and the amount of pollutants that are put out into the atmosphere. In fact, we did a quick analysis and determined that based on the median income of Chattanooga residents and the amount of time that we saved and the traffic volume, as a result of the deployment of this system, we save about $2 million a year. So ITS system. A subset of an ITS system is another acronym, ATMS, Advanced Transportation Management System. And you might think that ITS is sort of what paving, and ATMS is the roads. The paving is the thing that we use to make it work. We kind of talk about paving inside our office. It's a technical thing. The road is what all of you use. The ATMS is to the ITS what the road is to the paving. And the ATMS basically is collapsing all of the data that we capture through our signal systems and other places and delivering it to Chattanoogans so they can make choices about smart ways to get around. They might be able to get onto a website and determine that there's an accident at the 75-40 split and they live in East Brainerd, and perhaps it will be faster and more convenient for them to take Lee Highway Brainerd Road into their job in the morning. So ATMS. CMAQ, Congestion Mitigation Air Quality. That is a federal grant process which encourages municipalities through their state DOTs to develop projects that will lower congestion and also improve air quality. Our ITS deployment, phase 1 and 2, was the result of a CMAQ grant. We have applied for another CMAQ grant for ATMS to basically take all of that information that we've come together with in ITS and deliver it into a package that consumers can use. A few other things that are orbiting around this. We have a website called greentripscha.org where we encourage folks to get on and log their trips. Basically, we're trying to spread the idea that people can walk, they can bike, they can carpool, they can ride share, they can take transit, and that takes cars off the roads, decreases congestion, decreases pollution into the atmosphere. There are also apps, and I have one on my phone called Moves. I'm sure there are many others. Moves uses the geopositioning of your phone, or at least I assume that's what it does. And at the end of the day, it tells you how many miles you walked, how many miles you ran, how many miles you biked. And I think that it would be possible for it to tell you if you were next to someone else with one of these devices in a car, in a carpool, how many miles you carpooled. There are also other, you all probably know about a Fitbit. There are other applications out there that help folks move around in a more active way. And lastly, SF Park is the most well-known sophisticated parking system, which is ITS related, where you can get on in San Francisco, find out where the vacant parking spaces are, and it will actually adjust the pricing of those parking spaces according to demand. So it disperses parking throughout the city, makes sure that parking is more available. So what we're asking is help to maximize the benefit and usability of our ATMS. It could be that all of those things are collapsed into one mobile app. It could be that one of them is focused on and it delivers a solution that's a plug-in to our ATMS project. It could be any number of those things. We're hoping that you can help us provide innovative solutions for enhancing usability of the systems. And ultimately, this is about travel demand, helping all Chattanoogans and anyone passing through Chattanooga know how to get to where they're going in the best, safest, quickest, most efficient way possible. One other thing, I'm sorry, the CMAQ grant process, because it is a federal grant process and a state grant process, anyone that was involved in this program with us would have to go through the regular procurement processes of federal and state grants. So we do have those restrictions on us, but we feel like great ideas are out there and we need to put them in place. Thank you.
Hi, so I moved to Chattanooga a couple years ago for the gig tank, but I'm originally from Houston, so I'm very familiar with traffic issues. I'm wondering, have you looked at any sort of green light timing, just like our host said? A while back in Houston, they set up the lights for the main street downtown to basically turn green at about 32 miles an hour. So if you're coming north and south or south to north, you basically had a steady green light timing. I've noticed like going down Market Street, it's not always that
Right.
easy.
We actually been working on that, and one of the things that our system can do is we can adjust timing from our office. So without having to go to the field and open up the big metal box and adjust things there, we can do it more quickly. And in some cases, we have cameras where we can see the actual traffic conditions at the site, and we can adjust things from that vantage point. And I don't think does answer your question, but your comment made me realize that one of the important things that we can do with ITS is transit signal priority, which helps. You can have that for buses, but I think more importantly, from the standpoint of life safety, you can do it for fire response and emergency response, so that if there's an ambulance or a fire engine that needs to get somewhere really, really quickly, they actually can have, it's not literally a button, but they can have green light priority through the system.
Right, don't they have that already, being able to change traffic lights?
I'm sorry?
Don't fire engines have that built in?
I'm not sure that that's available throughout our city entirely,
Okay.
but some of the the transit signal priority can be automatic as well. So you don't have that. You don't have to, it's not a function of it. It just happens.
Hi, I'm Richard Cartier. We were a supplier for the City of Chattanooga. We came in as a supplier, And honestly, after getting in the database or anything, we got no response. We also didn't get a response after a request for bid. So I'm hoping some of those things will change. On a positive note, I wanted to share with some of the people some of the nice things going on. There's a proposition to do a light rail system here using existing infrastructure. And also our CARTA system has a magnetic charging ability to charge up and go on the streets right now. And I was kind of curious if that's moving forward.
I think you're talking about the electric vehicle charging stations, as that's not being administrated through our department. But I understand that we're continuing to expand that.
I'm wondering what's the biggest pain point in the market? I'm trying to think about making sure that we're not designing solutions, chasing problems.
That's a great, and when it comes down to what we're after is to make things better for Chattanoogans moving around in the city. You know, honestly, the thing that we hear the most of is not going to surprise any of you. People don't like to be stuck in traffic. So if we can develop a system that can deliver information for people that's real time so that they can make choices on whether it's carpooling or choosing a different mode or going a different way, to me that would be the pain point that would float to the top.
Your last slide mentioned a DBE goal. What does DBE stand for?
DBE is Disadvantaged Business Enterprise or Diverse Business Enterprise. The city has a goal of, I think, 12%, 14%. 14% of all of our city contracts. We've already almost achieved that, but we would have that as a requirement for contracts.
You said the funding's coming from TDOT, from the state of Tennessee, through a grant?
It's ultimately coming from the federal government, but the way the CMAQ grant process works is it goes through the state, and we work with the state on allocation of those funds.
So when you talk about DBEs, they would be state certified,
well,
TDOT
so I guess
certified
there's
DBEs.
two things. There would be procurement requirements through the state DOT and also the federal government. The city would have its own procurement requirements to make sure that we get the most benefit, which is partly why we're here.
I was just asking because we're a state certified DBE and they mostly do construction, so this is the first IT thing we've ever seen in 5 years that might be interesting. Thank you.
So two quick questions. One, the adaptive system on 153, which one went in? And second, are there any particular data protocols that you're looking for actual aggregation and bringing it back to your traffic management systems?
Ask both of those questions one more time.
The adaptive system that went in on 153, you said has been implemented.
Uh-huh.
What was that?
What was it?
Yeah, like who, manufacturing-wise, or is there a particular?
I'll defer to our signal technician who is at our table in the back. Why don't you ask him that?
I'll ask him afterwards.
Tommy Trotter, who I'll give total credit to, has been here for years and administered that first
Then I imagine the
application. So
second
he could
question.
tell you who the companies were that delivered the technology.
Okay. So then I imagine the second question would probably also be.
That'd be great.